to Washington, where there's sort of an intersection of the culture war and the political war. Our national security hangs now in the balance. NBC News now reports the Biden administration wants to halt plans to move Space Command to Alabama because of the state's abortion law. They cite administration officials. But this decision may also have something to do with Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville. He's blocking more than 200 DOD nominations. These are 3- and 4-star flag officers, combatant commanders that he is holding up because he wants to prevent the change. He wants to make the Pentagon change its policy for service members who want to get an abortion. Right now, the government reimburses members of the military who travel across state lines to get an abortion. The policy also applies to their dependents. Here's the senator on Thursday.
The Biden administration wants to mobilize our military against the weakest and the most defenseless, the unborn.
All right, Congressman Mark Alford is here, Republican from Missouri, member of the House Armed Services Committee. Good to see you. All right, you're with Tuberville on this?
I am. This is a violation of the Hyde Amendment. The federal government should not be in the business of providing abortions for women. And basically, this is what it's doing. Let's give an example.
Hasn't the DOD always paid for abortions for women, for service members?
The military should not be paying for abortions for military members. And especially in cases like Missouri, where Missouri has outlawed abortion, Kansas has legal abortion. So if you're at Fort Leonard Wood, in my district, you get pregnant, you can go to Kansas to have an abortion, and the military pay for your transportation, your lodging, and give you 3 weeks recovery period. We don't need that. It should not be part of the package that you get when you join the military.
Let me ask it this way. I'm wondering if Republicans can have it both ways on culture issues, because at times you say the military should not fight the culture war, and now you seem to want it to fight the culture war on abortion.
I think the position we have is the position that's not in the woke realm, the direction that the military is headed. We had, as I mentioned before, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Milley. We had Secretary of Defense Austin before our committee, and we told them, look, you've got to quit being in politics. You're not politicians. You are generals.
Right, but if we're asking service members to go where they are ordered to go, how do you say to a woman, hey, by the way, in the state you live in right now, you have a right to an abortion, but we are ordering you as the U.S. military to go to another state where you don't have a right to an abortion?
Once you get into that state, you live under the state's laws, but you also live under the confines and the restrictions of the military. The military should not be funding women who are pregnant to go to another state to have an abortion.
So you're not using the military to fight the culture war, to become sort of a product of, or trying to increase the social fabric that Republicans want?
Not at all. Fighting the culture war is not what it's about. It's about providing safety. It's about providing a military force that is ready to fight. I would much rather lose a woman not to be able to fight during her time of pregnancy than lose a child.
All right. Senator McConnell, then look, there's two issues here. There's the abortion issue as it relates to the military. There's also the issue in DOD. There's also this issue about holding up nominations of 3- and 4-star admirals and generals by one senator because he has this issue. Here's Mitch McConnell saying he doesn't support it. Take a listen.
No, I don't support putting a hold on military nominations. I don't support that, but as to why, you need to ask Senator Tuberville.
Is Mitch McConnell wrong?
Look, Tommy Tuberville is doing what he thinks is right, and that is standing up against abortion in America. We should not be funding abortions in any way through our military. And to hold up these nominations is the only way he sees fit that this U.S. Senate can stop some of this madness.
Okay, but we live in a representative democracy. The idea of one senator being able to hold up the nominations of hundreds of admirals and generals that we need, I'd just flip this around. If there was a Democratic senator who said, look, I believe that we should be able to have drag queens serving openly in the Navy with the topic you and I talked about last week. I think people can understand where you are on that topic. And one Democratic senator says, I'm holding up hundreds of nominations because that's what I believe in the right thing. I think you'd be saying something different, wouldn't you? Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.